Before you can play a guitar solo, join a band, read music, or even record your own songs, you need one skill that holds it all together. Not scales, not chords, rhythm. And today I'm going to show you a simple pyramid that makes almost every note value easy to understand. And by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to look at rhythms that once seemed confusing, but now you'll actually understand what's going on. Plus, I have a special gift and a big announcement to share with you at the end, so be sure to stick around. I'm Kelsey, and this is your fast and free guitar lesson. Let's go. So let's think of a song kind of like a brick wall. A brick wall is made up of many bricks, and a song is made up of many measures. A measure is just a simple unit that contains a certain number of beats. And a beat is simply the pulse of the music. When you listen to music, you can feel the pulse. If you happen to have a lead sheet, a piece of music that has the staff, you'll be able to see how many beats per measure by looking at the time signature. The time signature will be right beside your treble clef or bass clef sign. It'll say something like 4/4 or 2/4, 3/4. All you need to know about that time signature is the top number of the time signature is the number of beats per measure, the number of pulses. And the bottom number is the type of note that gets the beat. So a 4 would be the quarter note gets the beat. An 8 would be the eighth note gets the beat. So for instance, 3/4 time would be 3 beats per measure. The quarter note gets the beat. 6/8 time would be 6 beats per measure with the eighth note getting the beat. Just know that the standard measure is 4/4 time, which is 4 beats per measure. The quarter note gets the beat. And that's what we're going to assume the rest of this video. So let's check out our note pyramid. You can see that this pyramid has different layers in it. Each one of those layers represents a full measure. So our top note is our whole note, and our whole note lasts for an entire 4 beats. Just think of it sounding like da. We split that in half and we get our half notes, called half because they take up half of a measure, and they get 2 beats each. So just think da. And then if we split our half notes in half, we get our quarter notes. And our quarter notes are the pulse of our beat in 4/4 time. And so we would count them as 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's going to get a bit more complicated because we're going to split our quarter notes in half to get our eighth notes, named such because there's 8 of them in a measure. So we count our eighth notes using down and up beats. The up beats are the ands, and the down beats are the 1, 2, 3, 4. You could think of it like you're tapping your toes or clapping. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You'll notice with these eighth notes that some of them have a little flag or a tail, and some of them are connected by bars. It means the exact same thing. The most important thing to remember about that is if it's a single flag, a single bar, it's an eighth note. And then we get to the next level, which is our 16th notes. And you can see that these are represented with the double bar or the double flag. It works the exact same way as the eighth note. If they're side by side, the flags can become bars. And in fact, sometimes we're going to see eighth notes and 16th notes sharing some of the same bars too. We'll get into that here in a sec. Our 16th notes are just breaking down our eighth notes in half. So our 1 becomes 1E, and the and of 1 becomes and The way we count this is 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and Now, just as important as notes are to rhythm is the silence in rhythm. Silence has a rhythm too. And so we're gonna learn our rests, which tell us how long not to play. So here's our rest pyramid. You can see we have our whole rest at the top. Kind of looks like an upside down top hat. And then it splits to our half rests, which each get 2 beats. And those look like a top hat that's right side up. Our next level is our quarter rest. These are 1 beat each, and they kind of look like a squiggly line. The next level down is our eighth rest, and it lasts for half of a beat. Ironically, they kind of look like little 7s. And then our next level is our 16th rest. So the 16th rest looks a lot like our eighth rest, but it has the double flag or the double top of the 7. So every measure has the exact same number of beats. We're in 4/4 time, so all of our measures right now are going to have exactly 4 entire beats. Some of those will be represented with notes, some of it might be represented with rests, but together they've got to make the exact number of beats that belong to that brick, that measure for our song. Let's take a look at an example. In this rhythm, we've got the rhythm 1 and 3 and. You see we've got a couple of eighth rests in there and several eighth notes, but if you add all of them up, we have the equivalent of 8 eighths, which makes 4 beats, which makes 1 whole measure. So let's talk a bit about dotted notes. Sometimes you might see a half note with a dot beside it. The dot simply means we're going to take whatever value that note has and we're going to add on to it half of that value. So for example, a dotted half note, our half note has 2 beats. What's half of 2? 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So a dotted half note is 3 beats. Let's look at another example. We've got a dotted quarter note. So if we think about it, a quarter note is the length of 2 eighth notes, right? And then we need to add half of that to it for our dot. So half of 2 is 1. So a dotted quarter note is 1.5 beats. So you could think of it as 1 and 2. And then if we do a dotted eighth note, we've got to think in terms of 16th notes, right? Because an eighth note, when we split it in 2, is the equivalent of 2 16th notes. And then if we have a dot on our eighth note, we need to add half of that. So half of 2 is 1. A dotted eighth note is equal to 3 16ths. It's the 1 E and. So that's how dots work. So let's look at some dotted quarter notes in action. Here we've got a couple of dotted quarter notes. They're each going to take up 3 eighth notes. So we have 1 and 2 is our first one. And then we have our and, 3 and 4 and. So 1 and 3 and. There's another way that we can lengthen our note values too. We can use something called ties. A tie kind of looks like a smiley face-ish. This is a rounded line, and it connects 2 separate notes together so that they merge to become 1 note. So you could tie 2 eighth notes together and it would be the length of a quarter note. So you might be wondering, why would we use a tie to make 2 eighth notes into a quarter note when we could just use a quarter note? Sometimes it's helpful to use the ties when our quarter note starts on the and. Typically when you see a quarter note, it's probably going to be on the downbeat. It's going to be a 1, 2, 3, or 4. But when the quarter note starts on the and, we often tie it to the next downbeat. So here's an example. In this example, our tie connects the upbeat of 2 to the downbeat of 3. And it's going to sound something like this. 1, 2, and 4, and. All right, guys, let's level up and let's go on to 16th note variations. This is where a lot of musicians start to feel a bit confused, but by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what you're looking at. So let's check it out. First, let's make a mini pyramid using a single beat. So we've got our quarter note at the top. It's just 1 beat. We divide that in half to our 2 eighth notes, 1 and then we split those in half into our 16th note, which is 1 E and a. So when we're making our 16th note variations, we're going to make sure we have the equivalent of 4 16th notes per beat. These can be represented using eighth notes or 16th notes or even dotted eighth notes. Here's our first 16th note variation. In this one, we have an eighth note that's connected to 2 16th notes. We know what the eighth note is because there's only 1 bar connected to it, and the 16th notes are connected by 2 bars. Now I want us to think about this in terms of our note pyramid. So we have our 1 and here the and is split in half, but the 1 is not. The 1 still contains the 2 16th notes combined. The 1 E are not split. So we have 1 E and a. The way it sounds is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Let's look at another one. This one is the exact opposite. We're splitting the 1, but we're not splitting the and. So we have 1 E and then the and lasts through the and. So it's going to sound like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. On to the next. Here we've got our eighth note in the middle of the 16th notes, and we have a 16th in the front and a 16th in the back. So imagine these are our 4 16th notes. 1 E and a. If we combine the middle 2 16th notes into an 8th note, it would count 1 E a. A whole measure that would sound like 1 E a, 2 E a, 3 E a, 4 E a. Now let's get into our dotted 8th notes. If we have a dotted 8th note followed by a 16th note, we've got 3 16ths in that dotted 8th note. 1 E and are all gonna be together, and then the is by itself. It would sound something like this. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a. Let's reverse it. Let's put our 16th note at the beginning and our dotted 8th note at the end. Our first 16th note will be the 1, but the other 3 are combined together. The 1 is followed by the E, and the E contains the and also. So it sounds something like this. 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E. A couple tips for counting complex 16th rhythms. Whether you're a drummer using sticking or just using your hands on a desk, I like to use my right hand for the downbeats, 1, 2, 3, 4, as well as for the ands. And then I like to use my left hand for the E's and the U's. Basically, it goes 1 E and a, 2 E and a. So to figure out how it counts, I play the constant 16ths, and then I say the rhythm on top of my hands moving. You can use your hands to tap it out like that, or you could even strum it out too. Same concept applies. Use your down strums for your down beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, as well as for the ands. And then use your up strums for the E's and the U's. But let's use tapping as an example today. So we're tapping it out. We're just gonna tap solid 16ths, and then we're gonna say our rhythm over it. So you could imagine it might go something like this. 1 E and 2 and a 3, a 4 and. Using this tapping technique helps you keep exact time so you can find the right rhythm. One of the most important places that rhythm shows up in guitar is strumming. And if you're like most of my students, strumming is one of the most frustrating parts of learning guitar. And that's exactly why I created the X-line strum method. It's a visual system that'll help you see and play rhythms without your strumming hand getting lost. I'm currently finishing a complete strumming book that'll launch on September 1st of 2026, but I didn't want to make you wait till then. So today I'm giving away a free ebook called Your First 10 Strums. This book introduces the X-line method, and with it, you'll master your first 10 strums. Use the link below to grab your free copy. And here's your challenge for this week. Learn all 10 strums. And if you can do that, you'll be well on your way to not only understanding rhythm, but having rhythm. And if this lesson helped rhythm finally click for you, please hit subscribe and join me for our upcoming lessons. We're gonna start putting these rhythms to work on guitar. Steppable, stackable, fast and free. Have your guitar lessons your way. Music is for everyone.